The USA is famous for its haunted houses, steeped in eerie legends and tragic histories. From colonial mansions to murder sites, these homes attract thrill seekers and ghost hunters alike, offering chilling tales of restless spirits, mysterious sounds, and unexplained phenomena that keep America's fascination with the paranormal alive. Now we will visit the most haunted houses USA. Number 1. The Merchant House Museum. The Merchant House Museum in New York City is often called one of the most haunted houses in the USA. This historic home, built in 1832, stands frozen in time on East 4th Street in Manhattan. It once belonged to the wealthy Treadwell family, who lived there for nearly 100 years. Today, it is a museum open to the public, but many say the Treadwells never really left. Visitors and staff have reported countless eerie experiences over the years, making it a favorite spot for ghost hunters and anyone interested in the paranormal. One chilling story comes from people hearing footsteps on the upper floors when no one is there. The sound of heavy shoes slowly walking back and forth through the empty bedrooms sends shivers down spines. Another strange occurrence is the sound of weeping in the dark halls, believed to be the spirit of Gertrude Treadwell, the last family member to live in the house. Some have even claimed to see her standing quietly in her old bedroom, dressed in a long gown, staring out the window. A third terrifying story involves mirrors throughout the house. Guests have reported seeing strange faces appear in them, only to vanish when they turn around. It's said these may be the reflections of the family members who once looked into those very same mirrors. Another spooky tale tells of the scent of roses suddenly filling rooms with no flowers in sight. Gertrude was known to love roses, and some believe this is her way of saying she's still around. One staff member swears she once felt a cold hand on her shoulder when she was locking up at night. But when she turned, no one was there. That's the fifth story people tell. The sixth involves sudden cold spots, even on hot summer days. Guests will walk into a room and feel an icy chill, as if someone invisible has just passed by. The seventh, and perhaps most unsettling story, is of faint whispers heard late at night, almost like an entire conversation is happening just out of earshot. Many believe it's the Treadwell family going about their lives, unaware that time has passed. The Merchant House Museum remains a beautiful but deeply haunted reminder of New York's past. Its ghosts seem determined to keep their home forever. Number 2. Myrtles Plantation. The Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is often called the most haunted house in the United States, a place where the past never seems to rest. Built in 1796, this grand southern plantation is surrounded by beautiful oak trees and lush gardens, but beneath its charm lies a dark and chilling history. Over the centuries, the house has been the site of tragic deaths, mysterious accidents, and stories of restless spirits that still walk its halls. Today, it draws visitors from around the world who hope to experience its eerie atmosphere and maybe even encounter one of its many ghosts. One of the most well-known spirits said to haunt the plantation is a young woman named Chloe. She was a slave who, according to legend, was caught eavesdropping and punished by having her ear cut off. Later, she baked a poisoned cake that killed 2 children and their mother. Chloe was hanged, but many believe her spirit never left. Guests and staff claim to see her wandering the property, wearing a green turban to hide her missing ear, and appearing in photographs taken on the grounds. Visitors have also reported hearing children laughing and playing in empty rooms late at night, as though the plantation's young victims are still here. Sometimes people wake up to the sound of soft footsteps and giggles, only to find no one there. Others have said they've seen a little girl standing quietly by the grand staircase, who disappears if you get too close. Some guests have seen ghostly women in old-fashioned dresses, sweeping through the hallways or sitting silently in rocking chairs. There are also chilling accounts of a man dressed in 19th-century clothing appearing in mirrors and then vanishing when you turn around. One of the bedrooms seems especially haunted, where people wake in the night feeling as though someone is watching them from the corner of the room. Strange cold spots and sudden gusts of icy air are also common, even on the hottest Louisiana days. Visitors sometimes hear faint music drifting through the house, like an old piano being played somewhere in the distance. No one ever finds the source. The Myrtles Plantation remains one of the most mysterious and unsettling places in America, where the spirits of its tragic past seem to live on, keeping their stories alive in whispers and shadows. Number 3. Bell Witch Farm. The Bell Witch Farm in Adams, Tennessee, is often called the most haunted house in the United States, a place where one of the most terrifying paranormal legends in American history was born. In the early 1800s, the Bell family settled on this quiet farm, hoping to build a peaceful life. But what followed was years of strange and horrifying events that no one could explain. To this day, people still talk about the Bell Witch, a mysterious and malevolent spirit that tormented the family and left a lasting mark on the land. Visitors still claim to feel her dark presence lingering around the old property. The haunting began with strange knocking sounds on the walls of the house at night. The noise grew louder and closer, sometimes so violent they shook the furniture and rattled the windows. Before long, the family began hearing whispers and faint voices calling their names. The whispers soon turned into a woman's voice, mocking and laughing, sometimes even reciting prayers or quoting scripture. The children were not spared. Several of them complained of being slapped, pinched, or having their hair pulled by invisible hands. At times, they would wake up with red marks and bruises that appeared out of nowhere. One child even said they felt someone breathing over their face as they slept, though no one was there. Neighbors who stayed the night also experienced the witch's wrath. Some claimed to feel cold hands grabbing at them in the dark or heard footsteps pacing across the floor above them while everyone else was downstairs. Others reported seeing a strange, shadowy figure standing at the edge of the woods, silently watching the house before vanishing into thin air. One of the most terrifying parts of the story is how the spirit seemed to focus its cruelty on John Bell, the father. He grew sick and weak over time, claiming the witch poisoned him. Even after his death, the family said they could still hear her laughing through the house, celebrating his demise. Visitors today say the land still feels heavy and unsettling, with sudden chills, disembodied whispers, and a feeling of being watched. The Bell Witch Farm remains a place of mystery and fear, where the spirit of the witch seems determined to never let the Bell family's story fade into history. Number 4. Allen House. The Allen House in Monticello, Arkansas, is often called one of the most haunted houses in the United States, a place where heartbreak and tragedy have left behind a chilling presence that refuses to fade. Built in 1906 by Joe Lee Allen, this grand old house was meant to be a home filled with love and family. But over the years, it became known not for its beauty, but for the dark secrets and restless spirits that seem to remain inside its walls. Even today, visitors and paranormal investigators say the house is alive with eerie sounds, strange sights, and a feeling that someone or something is always watching. The most famous story tied to the house is that of Laudel Allen, Joe Lee's daughter. She fell deeply in love with a man her family disapproved of, and after he left her, she was heartbroken. On Christmas night in 1948, she drank cyanide in her bedroom and died soon after. People say her spirit never left the house, and her presence can still be felt in the room where she took her life. Guests have claimed to see her ghostly figure in a long white gown walking the halls or standing by the window where she once sat, staring out into the night. Many visitors have heard strange crying sounds late at night, soft sobs that seem to come from nowhere and echo through the empty rooms. Others have reported hearing whispers behind them, like someone is trying to speak but no one is there when they turn around. The house has a history of cold spots that appear suddenly, even on the hottest summer days. People describe walking into certain rooms and feeling an icy chill, as if a spirit is passing by or standing near them. Mirrors in the house are said to show fleeting images of figures standing just behind you, only to disappear when you look again. Shadows are often seen moving across the walls and down the stairs, sometimes darting into rooms where no one is supposed to be. Some have even heard faint music playing from nowhere, a haunting melody thought to be tied to memories of happier times that the house refuses to let go of. The Allen House remains a haunting reminder of love, loss, and spirits that never found peace, drawing those who dare to experience its dark and tragic energy. Number 5. Pittock Mansion. The Pittock Mansion in Portland, Oregon, is one of the most beautiful yet eerie homes in America, often called one of the most haunted houses in the country. Built in 1914 for Henry and Georgiana Pittock, it was meant to be a grand symbol of their success and love of Portland. Sitting high on a hill with breathtaking views of the city below, the mansion still impresses visitors with its elegance and charm. But behind its beauty are whispers of the past and strange happenings that have led many to believe the Pittocks never really left their beloved home. Visitors and staff alike have shared chilling experiences that seem to prove the mansion is still very much alive with the spirits of its former owners. Many guests have reported hearing the soft sound of footsteps echoing through the halls, as though someone is taking a quiet walk through the house. When they go to look, no one is ever there. Sometimes, faint laughter can also be heard, almost like a couple enjoying a private joke somewhere just out of sight. The scent of roses has been known to suddenly fill the air in certain rooms, though there are no flowers around. People believe this is Georgiana's way of letting everyone know she's still watching over her home. Visitors have also noticed windows mysteriously opening and closing by themselves, even on calm, windless days. Mirrors in the mansion are another source of unsettling stories. Several people claim to have seen quick flashes of figures in the glass, only for the image to vanish when they turn around. Shadows often move across walls and doorways, sometimes in rooms where no one is standing. One of the most chilling experiences people share is the feeling of being watched. Guests say it's as if someone is standing just behind them, following them from room to room, even though they're alone. Some have even heard faint piano music drifting through the empty mansion, thought to be Georgiana playing her favorite melodies from another time. The Pittock Mansion stands today as more than just a historic house. It's a place where the love and energy of its original owners seem to linger, filling the halls with beauty, mystery, and spirits that still call it home. Number 6. Hinsdale House. The Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York, is often called one of the most haunted houses in America, a place where darkness seems to cling to every corner. This quiet, old farmhouse looks ordinary at first glance, sitting among the trees in rural New York. But inside its walls are decades of fear, strange events, and a heavy, unsettling energy that has terrified everyone who dares to step inside. The house first gained attention in the 1970s when the Dandy family moved in, hoping for a peaceful life in the country. What they experienced instead became one of the most chilling, haunting stories ever told. From the moment they moved in, the family noticed strange noises at all hours. Heavy footsteps moved up and down the stairs even when everyone was sitting downstairs. Knocking sounds came from the walls, sometimes so loud it felt like the house was shaking. The family also heard eerie chanting late at night, words in a language they couldn't understand, echoing through the house as though a ritual was taking place nearby. The children complained of shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, just watching them in silence. When the lights were turned on, the shadows would vanish, leaving behind only fear. On more than one occasion, family members said they felt invisible hands grab their arms or push them while walking through the halls. One of the most terrifying experiences came when the family saw a strange figure outside by the tree line. It looked human but distorted, and it disappeared into thin air when they tried to approach it. The family's health began to suffer. They felt constantly drained, weak, and even sick without reason. Some believed the house was slowly feeding off their energy, keeping them trapped in its darkness. Visitors since then have reported cold spots, even on warm days, and the sound of whispering voices all around them when the house is otherwise silent. Some have claimed to see ghostly faces staring out from the upstairs windows when no one is inside. The Hinsdale House remains a terrifying place where the past refuses to rest, and the spirits within seem determined to remind everyone of the horrors that once unfolded here. Number 7. Drish House. The Drish House in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is often called one of the most haunted houses in the United States, a place where love, obsession, and tragedy have left behind spirits that refuse to move on. Built in 1837 by Dr. John Drish, this grand plantation-style home was once a symbol of wealth and Southern pride. But over the years it became known less for its beauty and more for the chilling stories whispered about what happens inside its walls. Today, the house stands as a haunting reminder of lives consumed by grief and the restless souls still said to linger there. People say the haunting began after the death of Dr. John Drish himself. He was known for his intense love of gambling and drinking, and his life ended suddenly when he fell down a staircase. His wife, Sarah, was devastated by his death, but became obsessed with planning her own funeral. She even saved the candles from his service, determined they be used at hers. But when she finally passed away years later, no one could find the candles. Legend says her spirit began haunting the house in anger, searching for the candles that were never placed at her funeral. Visitors have reported seeing a pale woman in a long gown wandering through the house, her face twisted with sadness and frustration. She has been seen staring out windows late at night, as though waiting for something that never comes. Some say flames have appeared in the upper tower of the house, glowing in the dark like the house itself is on fire. But when people rush to check, there is nothing there. Many believe this is Sarah's ghost trying to send a message from beyond. Others have claimed to hear footsteps on the stairs late at night, heavy and deliberate, like someone climbing slowly to the top. Disembodied voices and whispers are often heard in empty rooms, and cold spots seem to appear without explanation, chilling anyone who walks through them. Some guests have even seen shadows move across the walls when the house is empty, strange figures slipping in and out of sight. The Drish House remains a place of mystery and sadness, where the spirits of its tragic past continue to haunt its grand, empty halls, keeping their sorrow alive for all who dare to visit. Number 8. McPike Mansion. McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois, is known as one of the most haunted houses in the United States, a place where the past seems trapped in every brick and shadow. Built in 1869 by Henry McPike, it was once a grand and beautiful home surrounded by lush gardens and vineyards. But after years of neglect and tragedy, the mansion fell into ruin, leaving behind more than just memories. Visitors and ghost hunters from all over the world come here, drawn by the chilling stories of spirits that still wander its empty halls and dark, crumbling rooms. Many say the haunting began soon after the house was abandoned. Passersby reported strange lights flickering in the windows at night, even though there was no electricity. Others claimed to see figures standing in the windows, watching silently before vanishing into the darkness. People who've dared to step inside describe an overwhelming feeling of being watched, as though unseen eyes follow them from room to room. Some visitors have seen a woman in a long, flowing gown wandering the second floor, her face pale and sorrowful. Many believe she is Eleanor McPike, still attached to the home she loved. Her faint perfume is said to fill the air around her when she appears. Others have heard footsteps echoing on the grand staircase, even when no one else is inside. Sometimes the creaking steps are followed by a low, soft whisper calling their name, sending chills through anyone who hears it. The basement is one of the most unsettling places in the mansion. People have reported sudden cold spots, strange shadows, and even faint cries coming from the corners of the room. Some have claimed to feel icy hands brush against their arms, though no one is there. Visitors often say they hear laughter in the garden, as though a party from long ago is still happening, but the sound fades as soon as you try to follow it. Some have even captured eerie figures in photographs, blurry outlines of people standing in doorways or peeking from windows. McPike Mansion remains a place where the past refuses to stay buried, and the spirits of its former residents seem determined to keep their home alive. Number 9. Chambers Mansion. The Chambers Mansion in San Francisco, California, is often called one of the most haunted houses in the United States, a place where dark secrets and tragic events have left behind a chilling presence. Built in the late 1800s by wealthy silver baron R.C. Chambers, the grand Victorian house was meant to showcase elegance and success. But over the years it became known less for its beauty and more for the eerie and terrifying stories that surround it. To this day, Visitors and locals alike believe the mansion is still home to restless spirits who refuse to leave. One of the most famous tales is about Claudia Chambers, a niece of R.C. who lived in the house after his death. Claudia was said to be a deeply troubled woman, and after years of isolation, she reportedly died under strange circumstances. Some say she was murdered, others claim it was a gruesome accident, but her presence is still said to haunt the home. Guests and staff have reported seeing a woman's ghostly figure in the upper windows, her face pale and sad, staring out as if waiting for someone to return. People who've spent time in the house describe hearing unsettling noises at all hours, including footsteps in empty rooms and doors opening and closing on their own. Whispers are often heard in the hallways, sometimes saying a visitor's name, sending chills down their spine. In some rooms, guests have reported sudden icy drafts, even on warm days, and the distinct feeling of being watched closely by something unseen. The attic is said to be one of the most active spots in the mansion. Visitors describe hearing dragging sounds on the floor above them, and some have claimed to see shadowy figures moving just out of sight when they go up to investigate. Mirrors in the house are said to hold strange reflections, showing fleeting images of people who aren't really there or faces appearing just over your shoulder before vanishing. There are also reports of disembodied laughter echoing through the home at night, sometimes light and mocking, other times low and unsettling. The Chambers Mansion remains one of San Francisco's most mysterious and terrifying landmarks, where the tragic past is impossible to forget, and the spirits of its former residents seem determined to keep their story alive. Number 10. Joshua Ward House. The Joshua Ward House in Salem, Massachusetts, is widely believed to be one of the most haunted houses in the United States, a place where the dark history of the infamous Salem witch trials still lingers. Built in the 1780s on the foundation of an earlier home, it stands on the very spot where Sheriff George Corwin, known as the Strangler, lived and died. Corwin was notorious for his cruelty during the witch trials, personally overseeing the torture and execution of many accused witches. His brutal acts and sudden death are said to have cursed the land, leaving behind restless and angry spirits that continue to haunt the house. Visitors often report an overwhelming sense of dread the moment they step inside, as if something unseen is watching them. Many have felt icy hands touch their shoulders or brush against their arms, only to find no one there. Cold spots are common throughout the house, especially in the rooms where Corwin is believed to have kept prisoners chained and tortured in the basement. Some guests claim to see the shadowy figure of a man lurking in the corners, often described as tall and dark, with a twisted expression, believed to be the ghost of George Corwin himself. He is said to pace the halls at night, and his footsteps can sometimes be heard creaking on the old floors when the house is otherwise empty. The sound of crying and muffled screams has been heard coming from the basement, thought to be the lingering pain of his victims. Some visitors have even reported feeling as though invisible hands are tightening around their necks, leaving them gasping for breath. One of the most unsettling experiences comes from the upper floors, where people have seen the ghostly figure of a woman in a long dress, believed to be one of the wrongly accused witches. She has been seen standing silently by windows or gliding through the hallways before vanishing into thin air. Doors have been known to slam shut on their own, and heavy furniture moves without explanation. The Joshua Ward House remains one of Salem's darkest and most chilling landmarks, where the cruelty of the past refuses to rest, and the spirits of those who suffered still seem to seek justice in whispers and shadows. Number 11. Hotel Monte Vista. The Hotel Monte Vista in Flagstaff, Arizona, is one of the most haunted places in the United States, a historic building filled with eerie stories and restless spirits. Since opening in 1927, it has welcomed countless guests, including famous Hollywood stars, but many believe not all of its visitors have ever truly left. Behind its charming vintage atmosphere lies a chilling history of tragic events and ghostly encounters that continue to terrify those who stay the night. One of the most unsettling stories comes from room 305, where a long-term resident reportedly passed away decades ago and never checked out. Guests and staff have seen the rocking chair in that room move on its own, creaking back and forth at all hours. Some say they feel an icy presence watching them as soon as they enter the room, making it hard to stay for long. In another room, 2 women were said to have been murdered during the hotel's darker days, and guests often report hearing them whispering late at night. Sometimes their soft voices are accompanied by the sensation of cold hands brushing against the blankets, as though someone invisible is standing over the bed. A phantom bellboy has been seen knocking on doors and announcing room service, but when the door is opened, no one is there. Some guests even hear footsteps fading down the hallway as if he's still making his rounds. There are reports of a man in a long coat and hat who appears at the foot of beds, staring silently before vanishing. His presence leaves an unsettling chill in the room that lingers long after he's gone. In the lounge, people have heard disembodied laughter and clinking glasses as though a party is still going on. Shadows sometimes flit across the walls when the room is empty, adding to the eerie feeling. One of the most frightening stories involves guests waking up to the sensation of being strangled, gasping for air, as though something unseen is holding them down, only for it to stop just as suddenly. The Hotel Monte Vista remains a beloved but chilling landmark in Flagstaff, where the spirits of its tragic past seem determined to stay, haunting its halls with whispers, shadows, and eerie encounters no guest will ever